This is your first night at Fight Club.
You have to fight.
Good day to you, partner. I'm Pete, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken.
This kid from work, Ricky, couldn't remember whether you ordered pens with blue ink or black. But Ricky was a god for 10 minutes when he trounced the maitre d' of a local food court. Sometimes all you could hear were the flat, hard packing sounds over the yelling. Or the wet choke when someone caught their breath and sprayed.
Hey, Weed Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. So, you remember my strange friend, Landis 3, a guy who, for all I know, he probably lives in a dark bin somewhere surrounded by bats, and he cackles to himself, coming up with weird ways to make poison necro work. At least, that's what I go to sleep thinking every night, and if it's not true, just let me think that, Landis. Okay, so I don't... just a couple of weeks ago, Rin, probably the smartest pleb in Necro Chat, half pleb, half someone not a pleb, he said, would EBOTD work for poison? And everybody's like, no, God, you're so dumb. I think I said that, actually, probably. That's probably me. And lo and behold, Landis 3, he just messages me. He says, hey, I made an EBOTD necro. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I actually think it could work. So his gear is not optimal. And I'm not going to go too far into it because this would actually be really expensive. You would have to make an Eternal Breath of the Dying. You would have to make a Bramble. You should really run 3 Priest Trangs. Then you could run anything on the helm that has 3 sockets. You could run anything for your boots, and you wouldn't need skill rings. You probably should have skill rings, but you could just have tanky FCR rings. And for the AMI, again, you don't need skills, because what's going to cast EVOTD, what's going to cast Poison Nova is EVOTD. So if you pay attention, every once in a while he will actually manually cast his level 1 Poison Nova, and then it will start a chain reaction. Now, why the chain reaction works is because he does have a lot of the gear I'm mentioning on. And so his level 20 cast, when an enemy dies, is doing quite a chunk of damage. I think it kills some enemies in one cast. It's kind of hard to tell because it's like a machine gun. But this is a T1, okay? But he didn't have a full Ellie Charm inventory because, again, he doesn't need plus skills. So you don't even technically need Torch or Annie, but you should probably have them just because they have high stats. But you could have a full inventory of plus 3% poison charms. And then at that point, it would make the build, for 1, more fluid in T1. 2, it might just be able to do a T2. As far as I know, there is no way to make this build work in a T3 other than some very strange hybrid. Like, I was trying to think about it in my head for a while. It just really wouldn't work, trust me. You'd basically have to rely on RNG because, again, you can't have your minions actually kill the enemies. I just wanted to confirm that. And I'm almost positive that's true. It would be broken if it did. If enemies spark this, then it actually, I don't know if it would work in a T3, but you could, like, just put it on and, like, have revives and then, like, run revives, lower resist, and poison Nova synergies, and I think that would actually work. But again, if your enemies get the kill, you don't get it. I think that might be why he's using witches. It's because he doesn't want his revives to do too much other than just do, single target. So how I would think the build would work, besides the gear which I mentioned, and again, you might be able to do a T2 consistently. And after that, you want FCR. You want max lower resist. You want your poison Nova synergies. And then the question is, what do you do with your remaining points? Well, I don't think you need a way to proc Poison Nova. Maybe that would be something you should do, but then once you stop teleporting and casting Poison Nova, the build sucks, right? I mean, I know it's a meme build, but like, I want to make this meme build be a functional meme build. And like, come on, who wouldn't want to do this once in a season? If you have a Poison Necro, I mean, you'll have enough money to make an EBOTD at some point. Buy a token, it's worth. So I don't think you actually want to proc Poison Nova. The only thing I could think of is CE, and that's because CE does have a synergy with Desecrate, and it does have a synergy with Revives, but you wouldn't get Revives, right? I don't think that would work. But maybe CE would help. And again, that's a maybe. But I still think that would probably be too slow at that point. So if you don't go that route, then what do? Well, you could make sure you cap lore resist by getting Curse Mastery. Because Curse Mastery would add another 10% to your lore resist. Having some plus Curse Skillers could be an option. I'm not sure if a 3% Poison Charm or +1 Curse Charm would be better at that point. That's interesting. So getting lore resist as high as possible. And then what do you do with your remaining skills? I actually think this build could really use Bone Armor. Even just 1 point. I know you wouldn't have a lot of plus skills, but I still feel like Bone Armor could be an option for this build to make it work. Blood Golems are great. Like, honestly, 20-point Golem Mastery, 1-point Blood Golem. Like, that's just, like, this build needs it, obviously. I think maybe it could function good enough to where the Poison Nova chain never stops, and then you could get your own life after each kill. But let's assume that that isn't totally functional. Then Blood Golems would be your best bet, right? Because they're single target, they're good meat. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, and then Curse Mastery would be 100, and then with the points you have to put in the random crap, that would probably be everything. And I think that would just be the build, which is probably what he's doing on this screen. And again, I don't think you could cast anything else, or else you're killing the build. And I don't want to kill this build. I want this build to be a baby, and I want to eat it at some point. I want to take this build and just put it into my belly, because I think it would make me feel good and strong. And I could use that. I mean, I could use a win. I don't know if you know this, guys, but I've been going through a bit of a dry spell. I haven't played Diablo in months, except to make these sweet, sweet videos for all of you out there. All right, guys, Skelly King out. GG.
You weren't alive anywhere like you were there. But Fight Club only exists in the hours between when Fight Club starts and when Fight Club ends. Even if I could tell someone they had a good fight, I wouldn't be talking to the same man. Who you were in Fight Club is not who you were in the rest of the world. A guy came to Fight Club for the first time, his ass was a wad of cookie dough.
Nobody knows that they saw it, but they did.
Nice big cock.
What do you want me to do? You just want me to hit